Welcome in, everyone. Divine feminine energy is rising in the world. If you, as a woman or even as a man connected to your feminine energy, have you noticed some changes going on in the way you feel or see the world as it connects to women and men? I know that there's a lot popping off right now in the Middle East. There are changes of regimes happening all over the world. Women are rising up. We have a new woman leader in Venezuela who's working with the US, allegedly. We have some political parties on the fringes trying to bring women into leadership. I heard a news from somebody, one of my friends is connected to a woman running for president in the Congo. She was a prime minister, I believe, in the Congo. She stepped down, took a few years off. She's working the humanitarian projects, and she is considering running again for an even higher position in the Congo. There's also the feminine leader in the Venezuela Conservative Party that is going and trying to continue bringing headway for humanitarian efforts in Venezuela. And then there's the women that might not be leaders, but they are definitely rising up across the world. Iran is going through a huge takedown of different regime changes, regime policies. And I firmly believe that women are leading the way on a cosmic internal level. So this live is dedicated to women leaders. We're going to be looking at different leaders right now across the world, seeing, are they working for the light, working with the good of humanity? Are they nefarious? We're going to be looking at some questionable leaders, such as Ursula von der Leyen. We're going to be looking at Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy. We're going to be looking at Queen Romana of Canada. So grab yourself some hydration, put your feet up. Let's get started. All right, I have a special guest with me today, and I wanted to introduce my friend Maria. She's been a consultant for me with my YouTube channel and also consulting for some of my business and the coursework that I've been creating. So she's very close to my heart. We've become good friends over our distance. She used to live in Canada. Maybe she'll share her story, but she's currently in London. So she has a really good international perspective of the world. So I asked if she wanted to come on because she's leading the way in feminine sovereignty and independence in a healthy way. And I wanted to have her kind of lead the way with explaining some things about what she knows about woman leadership, and also to ask some questions for the cards. There are currently 15 to 20 women in power over nations across this world right now. And it's changing almost by the year. And I believe we're going to see a lot more of a holistic approach to women. So let me bring on Marie. Welcome in, Marie. Thank you for joining me today.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Now, can you share a little bit about yourself? You once lived in Canada and...
Yeah, I was actually born here in the UK where I am currently, but I left when I was really young and spent most of my life in North America, a little bit of time in the US, but mostly in Canada. And October last year, I decided to pack everything up and move back to the UK for a fresh start, midlife, reinvention, reset kind of thing.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because there's a lot of my viewers that are questioning a little bit about what's happening in London. What's the overall vibe you get in London? Is there chaos? Is it peaceful? Is it busy? Are people oblivious to the world? How do you feel London is responding to world events right now?
London, I think London is a huge city. And even just in the 3 months that I've been back, London is just always busy, especially if you're in central London around the holiday season. It was just, if you're claustrophobic, like do not go in that area, because it literally, when the epicenter is like Oxford Circus, it literally is a circus. It is so busy. But outside of that, like, I don't notice, I've never seen any riots, I've never seen any protests or anything like that. So, I question what is being seen or put on the mainstream media. I did, though, hear today the good news that Keir Starmer has abandoned the digital ID requirement to work or to prove that you're able to work in the UK. So that's a step in the right direction. So I feel like as we move into this year, we're going to probably see more, you know, I'd be curious to see how long he is in his position as prime
Interesting.
minister.
Interesting. So you feel like there's some social pressure going on there to kind of bring people into more of a independence then.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because Canada obviously was colonized as like a, you know, crown country or whatever, Australia too. So it's the environments I found are like very similar, especially during the pandemic, just strict and everything like that. So I feel here though, probably more people like push back about a little bit more than in Canada. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the whenever there's the next election. A lot of people think that Nigel Farage will be the one to get in. So we shall see. But a lot of people think that the UK is like done, just like they think the same about Canada. But things are happening, I feel, in the back channels, in the background. And yes, what
Good.
the UK remains to be seen.
That sounds good. That sounds good. All right. Thank you for sharing that. I know that some people have been interested, and I love talking about the international world. I want to switch gears now and go to the international community of the Middle East. I know we were in South America for a while, and it's like every few weeks we're in a different part of the world. Something major is popping off. And I don't want to get into the politics of Iran or its connection in different areas, but I do want to share several things about some of the women in Iran. There has been, let me go ahead and read to everyone this information about Iran. The status of women in Iran is a complex and evolving topic. Iranian society has a diverse range of viewpoints. The woman's experiences and aspirations are significantly based on factors like generation, socioeconomic status, and location. So, where women are located, urban or rural, is having an effect on it as well. But it has been since 2022 that woman life and freedom protests have been sparked since the death of Mahsa Amini, and saw widespread demonstrations against mandated dress codes and demonstrations for greater personal freedom. So since 2022, they are looking for more autonomy, bodily integrity, and the right to self-expression. So I want to say that recently there was this post of a 16-year-old Iranian woman who was actually sentenced to death. She had been raped by a 50-year-old married man. The judge did not believe her, and they convicted her of crimes against chastity and ordered her to be publicly executed. In retaliation, there have been women rising up in the streets and actually burning with the fire is the fire their headscarves. And it seems like there seems to be a lot of um, deep internal rage within women. And I want to do a caveat here that it's not a protest against masculine energy. It's not a protest against men. It's simply that I believe, Marie, that we, for thousands of years as women, kind of accepted that role. And now it's kind of like the pendulum swinging, and we're realizing, oh, I know I was raised in a very traditional home. I had to wear dresses. I had to wear head coverings in church. I could not pray in front of a man. I had that huge Iranian history, not from Iran, but I think it comes from more like the Dark Ages. The church, the nuns put women in a nunnery, put them in a monastery. I could not pray in front of a man. I could not speak in front of a man. I could not get a job, and I could not go to college. So I was raised until I was 21 with that belief of that intensity. So to come out of that is huge. And the first step to really come out of it is almost anger. Like, how did I accept that? And I want to share one more post, and then I want to ask your thoughts on this. But there is definitely the uncomfortable silence of the woman's most persecuted woman. Well, I don't want to read that one actually. I want to read I want to read the one below it, because it's a woman that says I'm not afraid, and she's in Western Iran and she's just protesting there, and they go into talking about Iranian women and Iranian men are under a lot of oppression because they have to fit that social norm of religion. Human rights are being challenged. But this is what I wanted to read. Our current US president said, "Why the silence is so loud?" An Iranian woman just said what many are not understanding, and it explains a glaring contradiction. And she talks about how, and he quotes her here, she argues that much of the loudest Free Palestine activism isn't actually about universal human rights at all. And the Iranian woman says, and here's the quote, okay, so it's right there. "Let me tell you why all these pro Palestine, all these pro human rights people are silent right now. Because 90% of the people supporting Palestine are Muslim, and they're only supporting them because Palestinians are Muslim. So the one reason why they're not supporting my people, Iranian people," she says, "because the country is being controlled by Islamic Republic. So the leaders are Muslim." And she goes on to say, "Because us Iranians, we were never Muslim to begin with. Islam was forced on us because when the Arabs invaded our country, stole everything, and assaulted our women, I don't want to say the word, but you know what they did. It was more than assault. They forced Islam onto us, and we were never Muslim to begin with. We were the descendants of Cyrus." And Cyrus is an old biblical king who had a beautiful, very wealthy reign in Persia, which became Iran. So I would love to hear your thoughts upon this uprising of a woman. And yeah, and let's get the cards going. Let's ask about some of this woman rising in the earth. Let's ask about some of these leaders coming. But yeah, I want to turn over to you. What thoughts do you have on this?
Hmm. I have to be careful. Um, it's hard for me because I, I feel like women should have more rights, especially in the Middle East, than they do. And it's unfortunate that they have been, I don't want to use the word indoctrinated, but, brought up to believe that, they have to follow certain things. And even if within your soul you don't feel in alignment with that, you can't really express that outwardly, or else, things can happen. You're not treated in the best way. I really wish that we could come to a place where women do have that freedom to express themselves how they want, to dress how they want, to live like so many Western, women have the same opportunities that we are fortunate and blessed to have over here. I can't imagine what that must be like to have that be your everyday, and you can't express yourself in any other way except for you can't go against anything. You can't speak out. You can't, I guess all you could do is like run away from home, but you would probably be shunned and cut off. And so it's a very unfortunate place to be in. But as the years go on, I really hope that we can get to a place where that's, women have equal rights no matter where you are on the planet.
Yes, yes. And I think it's always those first few women that kind of break the mold. And they're the ones that maybe, I believe some of them, know that they're trailblazers and they come and they break ground.
Yeah.
And once you get over the initial hump, it's sort of like the rest of the women are like, oh, okay, maybe we can dare. And not every man, I believe, in the Muslim world even supports their own tradition. It's not woman against men. It's basically like you said, you're almost brought up in it.
Yeah.
Man and woman, you're brought up into it.
It's all you know.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I'm sure deep down there's so many that would love to escape that and just be their own person and not feel almost forced to follow those beliefs that you don't necessarily agree with.
Yes, yes, yes. So true, so true. All right. So let's ask the cards some questions about this, and then I'm going to turn it over to you, and we're going to ask some questions about some of the women. I'll let you talk about. I know Italy's deep on your heart as well, so I want to hear about that divine feminine energy that seems to be rising, and we'll take a look there. But yeah, let's ask the question here. What is the future of,
Women in Iran
yeah, what is the future there?
be free eventually to express themselves and live in a way that feels, aligned with their soul.
Interesting. We have children coming in. So we have women coming in first, right? A celebrity. This is the card of women coming together and in community and celebration. But it's interesting because it's almost like new communities. So this is the card of new. They're very emotional. They're very passionate. They're coming together with a high vibration. And I want to say that the universe considers it a something good for them. It might appear like they're upset and angry, but the universe is looking at it as they're moving forward. We also have two children cards coming in, and this is telling me they're thinking about their children. They're
Mm.
thinking about their generations to come. And I think they're seeing, like the woman said, we didn't used to be Muslim. We were just more from Persia, the ancient lineages of Persia, King Cyprus. And I do remember seeing documentation of Iranian women in bikinis on, at their pools and at the beach, and like literally living like American women. They had beautiful jewelry and they would make up. And I saw these photos from the 50s and 60s. So I think that's what's coming in is they saw the way they shifted and they said, our children will never know the ancient history of where we were from. They're looking for a strategy. They're looking for I hear the word, a communication strategy, or how to communicate, how to get a message across. I don't think they have a voice. And that, like, they don't have a way to protest or a way to get into their newspapers or to put remarks out in their, books. They can't write books, they can't communicate. And so their gatherings is their only form of communication.
Mm.
So that is their protests, their gatherings is their message to the world. And I believe it's hitting social media because when they create a big bonfire in the middle of the street, people will take photos for the sensationalism, and then they're just like, that's our message. When it comes to them as their future, we're getting the Magician card, we're getting the Tower card, some shakeups coming, and we're getting some retribution as well. We're getting they are changing their energy and some retribution. I want to see, this is military activity. This is that morality police. I want to see if this is supporting them or if it's going to hurt them. This is turning into a huge revolution.
Mhm.
I have the words of home and then the card of conflict here. This is turning into a huge revolution. Three of Pentacles. They will be supported by outside forces like human rights activists. I believe they're going to start working with Western women and Western world and actually start getting I'm seeing a similarity to like the ancient communist or social regimes of China and Russia, and how they used to have like their underground networks and they would smuggle in like Bibles or they would smuggle in pamphlets. Remember that?
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm seeing like partnerships of like bringing awareness through Western activist groups, intense pressure being placed politically, and there will still be a lot of energy coming up to the forefront. A lot of confusion, a lot of options. I think what's going to be happening here is that there will be some initial repercussions from the morality police. They're going to go into some of the homes and start trying to investigate, interrogate, and try to kind of like quell it by going into the homes of some of the key leaders. What's then going to be a kickback is activists are going to get involved, start placing political pressure upon them, and it's going to send the Iranian government into a whole lot more chaos than they thought. They're planning, the high morality police are planning, we'll just go to the home of that protester leader that led that bonfire. We'll go take her and throw her in prison and send an example. They don't realize they're fighting the whole Western world. They're fighting social media. They're going to really develop a lot of chaos for themselves. And it's going to be pressure. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this? Any follow-up questions?
No, I think that's good. It's time for change. It's 2026. It's time for change. It's time to um, set these women free so they're not so oppressed anymore.
Yes. Yes. Now, you had brought up to me the leader in Italy, and I'd done some research on her, Giorgia Meloni, right?
Meloni, Giorgia Meloni.
Giorgia Meloni. Meloni. Okay. Giorgia Meloni, she is the prime minister of Italy. I actually researched and I says, is she considered more conservative or liberal based upon current standards? And they had some things to say about her. What is some of the information you've heard about her?
I haven't heard a lot about her. I feel like I'm trying to think if she's like the first female prime minister of Italy. She's fairly young. I mean, she seems very like I don't know, stalwart is the word, but she's just very like no BS kind of a woman leader. It seems like she's definitely not. Um, she's definitely for her people, from what I can see, especially in regards to immigration and the European Commission and that whole thing where countries in the EU have to, take in a certain amount of immigrants in their country. And I think she's just one that's like, look, if you're against Christianity or whatever it may be, like this is not the place for you. We're not tolerating all of your, you can't come in here and take over and, feel like you can have your way. I always feel like if a country is openly accepting you in, you gotta assimilate and I don't want to say play by their rules, but you've got to respect and abide by their laws and their rules. And you can't think you can just come in and then mooch off the country and not do anything and then just start infiltrating and pushing your ways around. Like you own the place. You don't.
There's some divine feminine mama bear energy there, protecting her people, I get. So I have some information. She has advocated for a naval blockade or stringent patrols in the Mediterranean to prevent migrant boats, often departing from North Africa, from reaching Italian shores. Her government has supported measures to intercept and return migrant boats off the Libyan coast. And she has been restricting NGO rescue ships, where she imposes strict regulations on civilian rescue vessels, accusing some of facilitating illegal immigration. So I could see how she's very controversial in the world today. It says here that she's promoting a, quote, virtuous model of integration. She is prioritizing national interests and reducing illegal immigration. Wanting proper assimilation. She's been a vocal advocate for reforming the EU's immigration system, particularly opposing mandatory relocation quotas for asylum seekers. Instead, she supports external processing centers and agreements with third countries to manage the flow. So did you catch that there? She's kind of like saying, we're not just going to open our doors to every person who claims asylum. What we're going to do is we're going to work with your country and external processing centers. So what I get that is humanitarian projects, people who are like truly almost providing a filter. Like they have a third party humanitarian project. They're not connected to any country, but they're there. They file in, they get the applications from the asylum seekers. They are actually like vetting them. So it's like a secondary vetting to make sure that they're coming in through this external processing center and they're doing it right by that center, but they're also doing it right by her own country. And she wants to work with agreements with other third countries to manage the flow, which is, to me, it says here her EU partners have criticized her policies as inhumane, arguing that they violate international refugee laws and endanger lives. Like, wow. To be a woman and to stand on what she believes and to have the whole world kind of like, even the rest of the EU kind of like screaming at her like that, that takes guts to me.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
what questions do you have? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that takes a lot of ability to handle pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess always when there's like somebody new that comes into office, I think though she's been in office for a couple of years now at least, I always want to know like what are their intentions? Are they really for the good of the people? Were they put in place? Does she have a handler? Like,
Okay. Good questions. Let's take a look.
is she for the light or for the dark?
Okay, let's start with that, and then we can ask about the handler and the thing like, does she have a third party agenda there? That's a good question. All right, is she for the good of her country? Is she for the good of humanity in general? Is she of the light or of more nefarious intentions? Let's take a look. Seven of Wands is the struggle, and then we have a surrender card, a letting go. We have independence here. Okay, she's not afraid to be independent. She's not afraid to stand on her own as a country and as a leader. We have the Page of Cups. The Page of Cups is, I want to get clarity on that because I see children. It's a card of children, concern for children. And we have the Magician card. I'm not getting negative cards. I'm not getting any negative cards as of yet, but this is her initial energy. She's rising. She's struggling to end something in her country. She's struggling against something to release it and let it go. And I think it involves those words that we can't necessarily say on this, but transferring of little ones,
Mhm.
right? I'm getting that here, but I'm also getting the Magician card, and so she's trying to get a result, and that's what I want to see. She's got an agenda. She does have a plan, but she's not telling a lot of people. The card is passageways, it's doorways, and then it is actually military activity. So this to me is telling me she's looking to become a little bit more of a world power. She is interested in a strong military force. I think she is interested in control on the Mediterranean seas. She does have some guts there, but she is focused on people. And I'm seeing islands here. Are there a lot of islands off of Italy?
Yeah, yeah, there's a few.
Okay.
Mhm.
Strategy. I'm seeing people strategy and then a wish, a desire, or a plan. So she's a long-term thinker. She's thinking about keeping control of her country through the military. And that is something that Giorgia Meloni is focused on as prime minister in Italy. She really wants to maintain control. Like I think you said it best, she doesn't want to lose control.
Mm.
To be honest, international deals. She's working with a few other countries and wanting to develop partnerships. But this is the card I was waiting for to see if they were positive or negative. They actually are balanced. Her intentions are, for the most part, well intentioned. She's got a little bit of the control going on, a little bit of I've got to maintain control and control of the seas, control of the land. But she's currently in talks with other nations internationally, and she would like to get positive partnerships. To be honest, Marie, I think she's skeptical of a lot of the traveling, the boats, the trafficking that's going on. And it's not, it could be in every area, every area. drugs, guns, all that kind of stuff. She's a little skeptical. And so she's kind of like pulled in the reins and like, I will not lose control.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm not getting any nefarious cards like she's working with anyone else. But let's see if her partnerships are with other people. Let's just go a little bit deeper into your. What was your second question there?
I think I asked if she was a plant or if she had a handler.
She did. She
Yeah.
did, and she's at war with them. Whoa. She is separated. Yeah, she betrayed some people that thought they had her in her pocket. We have the card of partnerships, went to conflict with them. The card of defense, Nine of Wands, and the card of backstabbing and betrayal. Either she felt betrayed by them and she went into protection mode and cleaned house, which is why some of her policies are a little bit much more aggressive in the terms of immigration, because I think she got betrayed and she realized she was being played
Hmm.
and she turned against them.
All
I
right.
really get that she is looking for proper partnerships, but is having a hard time knowing who to trust.
Yeah, I get that. Wow.
Right.
Hear that.
So we send her love, we send her strength, we send her peace, that she would be the woman she needs to be for her people, that she would get all the guidance she needs to just take this country up to the place where it needs to be. So
And
go
she can
in.
let me in. She can let me in for as long as I want. She can make an exception for me.
Yes. Yes. It's your dream to go live in Italy one day, isn't it?
It is. It's the long-term plan. It will happen.
All right. Who's next on your list of woman leadership in the United States? Or not in the United States, in the world. We don't want to go to woman leadership in the United States. God help us. That
Who else do we have?
we have Iwa. We
All
have
right.
Iwa, yeah, a member of the European Parliament. Kapax. Her name is Kapacz. So I apologize if I'm doing that, but she was the former prime minister of Poland. Yes, she's now a member of parliament. Now, you had heard a rumor about her while she was in parliament, hadn't you?
Yeah, I just seen a
In
post on Facebook probably last week how she was kind of standing her ground and pushing back on the European Commission's same thing about immigrations and the amount of people that you need to take into your country and, them just, not assimilating and acting right. And I think I read also that, like, if she didn't comply or if the country doesn't comply, that they could be fined. But I think there's some leaders that probably I don't care. Like I think it was kind of like that thing of like, I'll take the fine versus the other side of what we would probably have to deal with.
Oh, and that goes with the mandatory, you have to accept these certain people into your country as part of the EU. Got you, got you. And that's what Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was also saying there, saying is she was pushing back. And so that's, as a member of parliament, Iwa is actually not supporting that, is what you're saying, the mandatory asylum seekers and the mandatory distribution of migrants. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's like kind of closing the door to that.
Let's take a look at her energy. Woo! She's coming up with the Ace of Wands. She's on fire. She is passionate, and she is the Justice card. So she's coming up as she wants justice. She wants things to be fair and balanced. She also wants things to be legal. Interesting that that's coming up. We have the Moon card, which can represent corruption, but that's in the past. We have 10 of Pentacles, literally the community of the EU. She is bringing in some fire and passion for some legal action. She's asking for it to be given a vote or people to be given a choice. She's demanding that the head of the European Union and the leadership do not just tell everybody what they're supposed to do, and they say each country should decide how it
Hmm.
goes.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
she's calling for a vote. She's calling for a vote. She's calling for justice. She is bringing powerful, positive energy to as a member of the European Parliament. I believe that she has come into awareness of a lot of corruption. I think she has realized some of the corruption within the European Union and is actively fighting against it. She's taking the stance and fighting for individual sovereignty. And she's asking, like, you all, as the European Union, you leadership can get these ideas, but the people need to vote on it. And not just the leadership of each country, but the people inside the countries need to be able to choose as well. I am a little bit concerned with these two cards because this is the military being brought in. And I think she might be concerned about more than just the the fining on the countries. I think she's concerned that military activity might be taken against certain people that refuse it, communities. She's afraid and might have heard wind that military actions might be used against certain communities who refuse. And I'm not seeing the nation, I'm seeing the community, like the village, like the cities that say, no, we're not accepting these migrants because it's going to, whatever, deal
Hmm.
with our ecosystem or whatever. Just a little village is saying, no, we don't want them here. I think she got wind of possible military activity being used to force, to take over housing, like to make certain hotels in these villages. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing like, we're going to be forcing these villages to take in these people against proper, we call it eminent domain in the US, where the government will go in and take property for like a major state park, and they demand that you will sell your property to them or they will take it by force. It's called eminent domain. It's very, very so that's the feeling I'm getting, is like an eminent domain. Like, you don't have a choice. You have to turn your hotel over to these migrants. And she is concerned about that kind of military activity, the justice within it. Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I mean, you have to pay all these fees if you are part of the European Commission as a country. You have to pay into it, and then you don't like you have to do what you're told. Like, a country is a country. I think as a leader of a country, you should have full control over how you run it. Well, I mean, including the people, obviously, too, but, just taking orders from someone that you're paying oodles of money into
Yeah,
this union seems unfair.
so true. So true. So I
Makes
want to
me
pause
wonder,
for,
makes me
yes.
wonder where all that money is going, actually.
Yeah, she discovered corruption and she's not happy, and she wants people to have a choice. And that to me is, you know, proper national sovereignty, and or just humanity being sovereign. Humanity's human rights should be that humanity gets a choice.
Yep.
I want to pause right here and say hello to Ethereal Moonlight. Thank you for being here. She says, hello, beautiful ladies. And Nolan, Richard, I know you was Richard. He says, I want that meme picture of the Persian lady lighting her cigar with a burning picture of Khomeini. Yes. Yeah, she's definitely the epitome of woman rising up, but doing it in balance and doing it with the firm grace without going into a psychotic. I don't agree with these women who break the law. We're not inciting violence here. We're not inciting, doing some of the protests that's happening in the US where women are driving their cars through people or hurting people. We just want this gentle, calm grace of feminine leadership to say, this is a human right. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's basically what I did when I broke out of my situation with my cultish family and my leader with my father. Is I just said, Dad, I don't believe this anymore. And just to state that was enough. He went into a panic. He went into fining me and grounding me. I was 21. You can't see your friends anymore. You're going to have to pay this amount of money. He went into all the retaliation because he panicked simply by me saying, I don't believe this anymore. So I think that's how powerful women are, is to simply say, I don't think that's right. And I'm not going to consent anymore. It's powerful. And I did it with grace, and you can protest in grace. You can protest with gentle strength.
I guess probably for a lot of individuals out there, they don't really ever expect that. Like, you catch them off guard. You don't ever expect a woman to just, nope, not.
No more.
Yeah. And then you're just like, what do you do now, right?
Yes. All right. Shall we go into Ursula von der
Von der
Leyen?
Leyen.
What
Mhm.
questions do you have for the cards for this?
Well, I'm very curious about her, like, and how she became. Like, I'd be curious to know if she had some familial connections that put her in that position. I don't know if
And
she's
she is currently the president of
the
the
European,
European
is it the
Commission.
European Commission? I can't remember if it's that or the Union, but it's one of the European something.
She's considered head of the European Union, but it's the European Commission is the appropriate title of that board of directors, you could say. All right, so let's take a look at her backstory. Spirit, how did she get into office? Did she rise organically? Was she put in place? Is she a puppet? Is she there with what's her backstory? Ursula von der Leyen. Tower card. King of Pentacles. Okay, she was put in there by a strong masculine energy or person, by another leader. Her backstory is she was in a very depressed, sad state. She was in a very vulnerable state. The World card, she replaced someone. She was being put in place there as a puppet because they needed someone to play a role quickly. It looks like someone went down fast. I do not know who she replaced, but the king or the leader, I say the king, but here's the king right here. The leader before her went down hard and fast, and she was put there as a replacement very quickly to take over his role. This card in this deck is not a good card when it comes to the deep state or the dark elite. She was put in there by some very major players because they wanted to take that role. Richard says, Union, big scandal, will take her down. Okay, so Richard thinks she is not for the good of humanity, thinks that it was a big scandal. I'm getting the energy from the cards that the previous leader might have been literally torn down on purpose by the dark side. Okay, continue giving more of her backstory. How and why did she get in? We've got the queen. We've got a queen coming up. Queen. The devil card. And the chariot. Somebody needed to take over the European Commission fast. And they did it hard and they did it fast. And they put her in place. And I feel like, I'm going to be honest with you, Marie, I'm seeing a hurt, broken girl who's taken off the streets. And this might not be her true story, but this is the story the universe is giving me. Who is taken from, and I'm seeing I'm seeing her like a 12-year-old girl, then like a 16-year-old girl, and she's just like misused in some of these higher circles.
Mm.
She was able to be easily manipulated because they have used her, and they groomed her into power. And we have the dark elite card and the devil card here, and they kind of like used her from a dark place to groom her into a very powerful place quickly to take over. I hear as well with this tower card that she might have even been used in some way to do some. This is the card of the Secret Service card. This is the card of like the secret police, the card of, three-letter agencies that they kind of manipulated the whole thing. Does that make sense to you?
Was she like a spy?
Yeah, but not a spy, more like a plant, like they call it like a honeypot.
Mm.
I don't know if you're familiar with that. Not quite that way, but she was literally said, we're going to go in here and we're going to put this information on this, gather information on this, blackmail this, and we're going to put you in place, and you're going to say this, and you're going to do this role, and you're going to do this. And it's not that she necessarily was a spy, but she was part of a massive ring, like an organ, not an organization, but a plan, a massive plan.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just part of that. And she's now, let's go ahead and look at her role. Shall we look to see what her current energy is in her role?
Mm-hmm.
What is Ursula's role now? How is her energy doing? Is she still that kind of puppet or plant? We have the military and the emperor. We have the 10 of Pentacles, which is the communities of the EU. We have the choice. She's in a dilemma. She's under a lot of pressure right now. We have the Magician card. The EU is changing and she doesn't know what to do with it. Oh my goodness. Her handlers, many of the handlers that she was once responding to have been taken out. We have leadership and then military activity. And I just literally saw like she now has to make her own choices. Where once she had key dark elite figures giving her, like international bankers, deep state,
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, puppet string, they've been kind of neutralized, and she now has to make her own decisions. And the whole country is all of Europe is changing. It literally is changing before her eyes, and she's trying to hang on to the policies that always have been, but I think she's being pressured to make new policies. She's being pressured to bring in new policies by some high vibrational people, and I do believe she's gotten some of the attention and pressure from even higher being, cosmic type beings that are. This is the star card. This is the card of angelic help, divine assistance coming in to kind of put that pressure on her to stop doing things the way she always did it and to go forward into something new, like to flow with the changes coming to the EU. And it's hard for her. It's really hard for her. She's trying to hang on to the old. Yeah. But I'm going to be honest, her current energy, she's more of like giving me of a confused information. She's kind of confused. She's given me like, I really don't know what to do. I don't know how to make my own decisions. All she knows is what she was groomed to be, and not how to actually move forward. Okay. And I think you had one more question too, right?
Regarding her?
Yeah, like her future. Were we going to ask?
Yeah, like I want to know if she'll be out, resign or something, or resign in air quotes.
Nine of Pentacles And defense. Okay, somebody has something on her. We're getting the sun card. We have, your air quotes,
Hmm.
resign. That's the air quoted resign, the capture card. Card being under investigation and actually being in possibly even captured in some way, investigated and captured. We have a good military and a defense. And immediately when I saw these two cards coming up together is they have some information on her and they have kind of like put her into a pocket to say, we know this and we know this, and you need to kind of like get yourself under control here. Like, I know you've been taking orders from all these low vibrational leaders from, pulling the strings across the world, but we've got some information. They kind of like put her on pause. They're kind of like, you need to stop. So she's getting some pressure from some, I don't want to say third party intelligence agencies, but that kind of thing. Sort of like some Five Eyes intelligence agencies have been kind of like realizing that some of the corruption she was involved in. I think it has to do with some money as well. But
Hmm.
there is the current energy of this is the card of pause, rest, and temporary handing things over. So I think there might be someone coming in soon to step over as like an interim where she might be going on pause. She is very stressed out about this information. I feel like some of the good guys have put some sort of a little bit of a blackmail situation on her. Like, we know what you did, so you need to straighten up. She's really stressed out right now. The information is a pause, not getting a step down just yet. So let's ask a little bit further down the line in history. Is this going to be an arrest? Is this going to be a transfer of power? We have the queen, a woman, temporary pause. And then a political vote. I think, do you happen to know if they vote for the leader of the commission? Because it looks like she's going to be voted out.
Hmm. Well, I don't know what the process is, but I could imagine that there's probably a lot of European countries that are in the European Union that probably are not fans of her.
Yes. Richard says here she's being exposed for a financial irregularities. That makes sense.
Does that have to do with any like C contracts, V contracts?
Oh, you're talking about the
Mm,
the the actual jab. I think we can say
mhm.
that on YouTube. Yeah, tell me about that. You were sharing a little bit. We'll use the word jab.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
For
I'd heard like she had got all these contracts and everything sorted and in place and whatever before things actually unfolded.
2020
Yeah.
pandemic is what you're talking
Yeah, I
about.
heard she had a big part in that.
Interesting. Okay, we're going to pull on that. Maybe that was part of some of the plans that she's being investigated in as well. Richard says, just like they used Theresa May until Mr. T told her of a plot on her life and she quit. And then he says she is losing. Orban of Poland is challenging. Oh, so someone in Poland is challenging her seat or her role as leader of the EU. So she is getting some political pressure to know it was the money to Ukraine with her brother, I think. Okay, so you're right. Lots of scandal, lots of information. Was Ursula von der Leyen involved in a plot or a plan to get Europe into a structure that would benefit the agenda of the jab or the pandemic? Was she alerted? Was she involved in plans before the rest of the world knew? Let's take a look. Three of Pentacles is partnerships, agreements, ideas, and it is the energy of contracts. We have the Ten of Wands. the ending or the completion. Not all of them in the intense pressure. She was pressured. The Sun card would be a yes to that question, and the Knight of Pentacles. Um, I'm seeing resources. I am seeing contracts, but I'm seeing she was involved in getting those the jabs in sooner than expected. Like she kind of like was that is that what you're talking about? She got the contracts to bring in certain um, equipment like shots and stuff.
I can't remember exactly, but I know that she had a hand in getting all these contracts and making money from. Yeah.
Resources. She
Mm.
was involved in using the resources and she did everything she could. She ran over toes. I believe she broke some international laws. This is the conflict card, stepping over toes, lying, contracts, and I think she's very stressed out about it right now. She's definitely in agreement with other people concerning it, and she manipulated resources to get ahead. And I believe, from what it seems like, she broke some international laws. And if people knew, there could have been war. Like that's how bad it was. There could have been war between other countries, between the EU and countries, and some conflicts there as well. All right. So according to her future, she will be stepping down. She won't be stepping down. She is under an investigation of some sort and she is nervous, she is scared, and she knows she did some political moves concerning even if what she felt was right, bringing in the vaccinations to her country, she did it illegally and she did it with intense pressure. She was pressured, she pressured people, and she brought in resources and things long before the rest of the people truly knew what was happening. And I believe she might be being investigated for that
Mm.
very because the stress card came out again. And I think she will just kind of concede to the next person coming into the EU. I
What's
think
in the dark always comes to light.
so true. All right, you have one more queen you want to look at. What is it?
Yes, close to my heart. Miss Queen Romana. What
Yes.
is her story? She kind
And
of
can
flies
you
under the radar.
and can you tell us exactly like what country she's with and what you've heard about her?
Well, she claims to be the self-professed Queen of Canada. This was even going on before the other one had, you know, gone off the radar. But yeah, I think she's Filipino. I feel like the story I heard was that she came from royalty back in the day, like her family. Um, and she's just been, I mean, I haven't heard much of her lately, but she's gotten a lot of flack and been arrested, and people think she's a fraud and a fake. And I'm trying to understand, like, who is she really? And what is her role in all of this global stuff going on?
Is she currently in Canada?
I believe she's still there.
Okay, because I've gotten the card saying some things are happening and she's considering leaving the country.
Hmm.
She's considering traveling, fleeing, going to an island somewhere, maybe back to the Philippines, but traveling internationally because she's not feeling safe right now. So I'm just going to take that piece of info and put that here. That's kind of what flipped out as you were talking. Like she's kind of in a desperate state right now. But I'm pulling cards on her backstory. Who is she? Right? Okay. Her roots are very, ooh, okay. Okay, this is interesting. Her roots are coming up as the Hermit card. And the Hermit card, when I pull cards on politics, is the card of like secret royalty or the white hats, the card of protection. So if you could think of the good Knights Templar back in the day when they held the secret, the secret the Holy Grail, or they protected their ancient relics. And, the different kings would like issue out arrest warrants for them, and they would hide the relics. And it's so kind of like that secret society, but they were good. They were
Mhm.
trying to preserve the people's relics and stuff. That is the energy of the Hermit card, the energy of the secret hidden warrior that has to hide in a cave because she's not welcomed by society, and she's or she are challenging the dark elite. Okay, so she's coming up as a secret warrior with possibly ties to good secret white hat societies or white hat people. She's got a military that is currently protecting her.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I've heard that, yeah.
Have you really?
Yes, because a
Ooh.
few when was it? Maybe about 3 years ago. Was it during the trucker convoy in Canada? Something happened, and I remember she was in Ottawa with her entourage, military, and burned, like, a Canadian flag, like, right up on, like, the Parliament Hill, never got arrested.
Okay. She's definitely got connections.
Mhm.
She her secret. We're having the card of private. She's been really private about certain things, but she's starting to let that go. She's trying to come out more public. We have her actually building a kingdom. I don't know what this means, but she's getting a structure in order
That's
to
what she
say,
calls it. The Kingdom of Canada is what she calls it.
oh my goodness. I just heard the words like she's building a kingdom, and she's
Mm.
like getting a constitution, and she's getting laws, and she's getting
Mhm.
the legal side, and she's getting the lawyers, and she's literally building like this whole nation, and she wants to present it to the people of Canada like, this is what I'm presenting. Will you accept it?
Yeah, she had all of these laws. Because when I used to follow her on her channel, like, she would every so often post a law, like, "This is no longer happening, and this is what's gonna happen now," like, yeah.
Ace of Swords, which is again policies, rules, announcements, structures. This could be an announcement coming from a major other world leader. I need clarity on this. And then a world, an ending, an ending, an ending. A major ending is coming. And there's going to be possibly another king, quote unquote king, or a world leader that endorses her, that
We
announces.
had at one point, and this is where I'm like, "What's her story really? Like, she for real?" She was talking about that she had ties with Mr. T.
I to be honest, that's who I kind of saw here. Was at some point there's a plan to suggest to Canada that this is the proper queen of your. Come to think about, a few years ago when I would pull on Canada, I would see a queen, a female leader coming up. Okay, and Simon Parks, who has been sharing about this, has endorsed Queen Romana as well, but nobody knows. And it happened like 3 years ago, where he kind of endorsed her, said she's legit, and then she kind of dropped off the stage. The reason why she dropped off the stage is she intentionally took her kingdom into hiding to make the kingdom more appropriate, to literally bring in the legal aspects, to be able to make the correct introductions to Canada, like to do things right. So she kind of pulled back in order to get her ducks in a row. To be quite honest,
She even had, like, this money, like, $100,000, was it $100,000? Some kinda, like, money, like, new money kinda thing. Because my friend had gone and gotten one of the checks. I don't know whatever became of that, but there was these checks that she was creating, whatever it was. Yeah.
so like she had a separate form of she had like a separate banking system, or a separate form of not currency, but she had her own stash of money. She has her own wealth of some sort.
Something like that, and it was, this was, like, probably a good 2 years ago, And I remember my friend got one, and she's like, "Well, I don't know what's going to happen with it now," but it was like a check for $100,000 or something like that. Yeah, it was like, yeah, and she had to like sign all these things, and I'm just like, "Is this real? Like, what's going on?"
Well, we will see. Yeah, I think there's leadership change coming to Canada soon. To be honest, somebody's leaving. We have
Good.
somebody leaving, and we have an ending card, the world card, a major ending.
The hope is Mr. C. Everyone's waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, we got it. Political change is coming, and I think it might be put to a vote. The
Hmm.
political voting is coming up. We do have a lot of possible military activity as well. Martial law, something like martial law, or a hold on. I'm seeing a hold on Canada's system, a hold, like a temporary freezing of Canada's system because of some sort of corruption or an ending of a contract with the royal family, or they got rid of the CCP within Canada. Someone who's been pulling the strings is kind of like gone, and like all of Canada is kind of like, now what do we do? People in Canada might not know that it's happening that way, but that's the sense I'm getting. Like the leadership, the what are the governors of the provinces? Prime minister,
Premiers.
premier.
Premiers.
The premiers are gonna have to like make a decision and do some transitioning there.
That'll be interesting. The Ontario one, anyway.
And we also know there's a lot going on with Canada. Canada's hurting my head with the and Spirit's also pinging off of me of like how some of the provinces are trying to leave as well. There's a
Alberta.
lot going on in
Alberta.
Canada.
Yeah. Yeah. Alberta's trying to separate. It used to be Quebec for the longest time that wanted to separate, and then it's become Alberta. Everyone's talking about, oh, gosh, please let us be the 51st state. Trump, come and get us. Let us be the 51st state. You know, people are just so over our prime minister, who just is an interesting individual, to say the least.
To be honest, there is a chance from what you're saying and explaining and looking at the cards, there's a chance that the ones who do secede, to borrow the term, I'm not sure if that's the correct term, but those provinces who do leave might accept her as their queen.
Hmm.
There is a chance that there will be a split or a leaving because I did see something's ending, something's leaving, and then there seems to be another world leader that vocalizes an endorsement of her. So yeah, I think that there might still be a lot in the cards for Canada, but she has a lot of options. She has a lot of options. Wow. All right, so let's just end Marie with a card pull. Let's just pull on divine feminine energy. What is it doing in the earth? Let's just see what Spirit says to wrap this up. Richard says, Starseed Ambassador with connections to the Federation came here to facilitate another planet peoples. Peoples here to help. And then he's mentioning a mystic that's talking about Ishmael, has not talked of her specifically. But there are rumors that she is here with some connections to some higher order beings, some starseed ambassadors to help facilitate in a better federation for people. So interesting concept.
Arcturian. Arcturian.
Have you
There's
heard
one
that?
that she's Arcturian.
Woo! Spirit, what do you have to say about us divine feminines within all of us, the divine feminine energy within all of us rising? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the past energy is coming up, things from the past. Something that's arising is concern for the children, awoke divine feminine energy. It awoke it. It was a catalyst. Concern for little ones, and that kind of awoke that sleeping beauty within us all. And it was the mother instinct that was the trigger to just that caused the outrage. Many of us, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, some of us longer before that, we began waking up to the atrocities in the world. And that spirit saying was a trigger to awaken the rest of divine feminine in all of us, men and women. And so that's kind of where it started. Protecting the little ones. Moving and expanded into more of a cosmic divine feminine awakening. We have movement into the cosmos. So I believe feminine energy from higher beings as well. We got the attention. We're like, okay, we're going to start protecting our children. And you could almost say divine mother, within us all, kind of like we kind of woke her up. We have divine masculine energy supporting us, divine, healthy, balanced masculine coming in to say, whatever you need, we want to support you. So again, it's within us all, but it's also connected to the higher realms of consciousness. The structures, interesting here. The structures in the system. Getting a lot of masculine energy that's making space for feminine energy to arise. The masculine energy is at war with itself. The masculine energy is healthy masculine is literally against toxic masculine in the world. Interesting concept.
Interesting.
Because it's like the females are rising and now they're fighting over what's appropriate in the world. It's like good masculine energy is at war, and that's why we're seeing a lot of conflict. Is we're like, can we just stop the wars? Can we just bring in new financial systems? But it's like the masculine got to do its thing as feminine energy is rising. Protect the children, give us the rights we desire to dress the way we want, and it's literally putting toxic masculine and healthy masculine at odds. And it's all part of us rising as humanity into the people we need to be as spiritual beings of light. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this, Marie. Any closing thoughts? I just want to say thank you for being here
Oh,
so
you're
much. This was so much fun.
No, I think, we're moving in the right direction. It's going to take time, of course. It's like the bubble has been burst, and now, like, I can't help but wonder if this was like cosmically aligned, or, you know what I mean, on a timeline kind of thing. So yeah, let's just see these masculine energies be able to come together at some point. But I love that, the good masculine are there to support,
Yeah.
because you gotta think too, there must be some masculine energy out there that are not in agreement with, some of these beliefs, but you gotta stuff it down.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. To make sure that their women and children are safe, they have to kind of go at it a lot more delicately,
Yes.
challenge that system because they have women and children connected to their name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good point. It's a good point. And I think it's why us feminines, we can't be so quick to attack masculine men that might not be doing things because they are conscious of, I need to keep things safe. We don't want war. We don't want conflict. We will fight if we have to, but we want to make sure that our women and children are safe. So that's a very good point. It's a good point. So
Well, let's see what happens. The year has just begun, so let this be the year that the end of all the madness comes, and that we can just have peace on earth and goodwill towards all men, women, and children.
amen. We set that intention for this live. Where can people find you, Marie?
I have a YouTube channel. It's just under my name, Marie Mercurius. And I'm on Instagram, not as actively, but mostly on YouTube.
Marie, and I'll put that in the chat here. Marie. Yeah, she's been talking about her. I think I got that right.
Mercurius.
I got it. Yay. And you've been talking about transitioning throughout the world, traveling, like literally going from Canada to London and working through that.
Yeah, just midlife change, or just life changes. It could be career or, coming out of a relationship, just like big impactful changes in your life to, move ahead, wanting more for yourself,
So
living
check
life
her
on your
out.
own terms.
Yes, yes. That's beautiful. What amazing challenge and adventure that must be. That's beautiful. So check her out on YouTube, Maria Mercurius.
Marie.
Marie. Oh yeah, that's right. I put Maria. I literally was, I knew you were.
Ruth.
Here I have been emailing you for a year now. Let's see if I can edit it. Oh, let me just blocklist it. Marie! I got your last name right, but I couldn't spell. There we go. Yes, check her out. Give her support. Give her a like and a subscribe to her channel. And that sounds good. Richard says, no toxic male or female energy, but dual two terminal power. And I think you're referring to like electricity or something, like you both actively working together. So I love that analogy. Actively working to bring peace on earth to this world. So, well, everyone, I will be live again next Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. And I hope maybe Marie will come on again with me sometime in the future. We'll have to do some more of these live streams like this. So thank you so much for helping me with this.
You're welcome. It was fun.
It was fun. Until next time, everyone.